Oh, I just noticed that the underwater gathering is like completed. Like it's faded out and everything. I wonder if that was because we got all the stickers or because we saw the scary face in the water. Let's just continue with this because I feel like I'm prone to get my timelines really confused if I go back and forth. Well, you know, we'll still go back and forth, but also I really want to know what the deal is with Sato. She was mysteriously cut down, yet moments later she resurrected before her friends' very eyes. As confusion engulfs the island, Yuza and Azami head out to meet Yuza's grandmother, Yuza Minakuchi, at the appointed time and place, where she presumably is going to meet her end, I think. Unless if I'm mistaken. But maybe we could talk about Sato. Like, did she have anything to say about it? Several hours later. Sorry to keep you waiting, Yuza. It's nearly time to meet up with Suya, yeah? Let's head that way. It's a beautiful night. Right. What a fade. Or wipe, I guess, not a fade. Also, why even give us that option to... The whole island was in an uproar after that. We didn't even get to ask Sato what happened. Yeah, wait, why not, though? Did she run off? Yeah, apparently she shut herself up in her room at the Wakamura's and hasn't come out since. What the hell was that, though? And how'd she even get hurt like that in the first place? Some of the islanders were kicking up a real fuss saying that Sato isn't human, that she's something evil that should be chased off the island. But everyone settled down after Mr. Wakamura stepped in and promised to handle it. Everyone on the island's probably heard about it by now, though. It'll be all anyone can talk about for a while yet. Yeah, I can imagine why. Did you go back home afterwards, Yuza? No, I stayed out to do some digging. Gran wasn't at home anyway. What did you do as far as digging is concerned, Yuza? She hasn't recovered enough to be able to move around that much, though, so I'm pretty worried. Yeah. You think our promise to meet with her at the bay is still on? Let's go and see. I mean, that's where you're shuffling off to, right? Oh, there she is, but she's like a ghoul or something. Or she's just standing weird. Oh, good, she's here. Gran, is your leg okay? Oh, no, it's Dutch angling at me. Gran, it's me. You remember your grandson? Oh, no, she's fine. What was it that? Oh, you two came after all. That was like so dramatic, and she's like, oh, here I am. The waves were so loud I couldn't hear you for a second. What are you doing over there, Gran? This is where it's hidden. Hidden? What is? What Mare, your mother, left us. My mom? Yes. So Yuza, have you heard of an island called Ise-Shima? Ise-Shima? Gah! Wonder who did that. Huh? Gran? Gran! See you. What's wrong? Why does it look like you're bleeding? She's hurt bad. We have to stop the bleeding. Ah, Kikuko. Kikuko did it? What are you doing over there? Kikuko, this isn't what she just suddenly... Is that Suyu? No, you couldn't have. So, is Kikuko the one that has the curse? Ah, because that's awfully suspicious. Wait. Shit, she's totally got the wrong idea. It's too late, Gran. She's got no pulse. That wound's too deep. It almost cut her clean in half. She never stood a chance. I'll go get someone. You stay here with Suya, Yuza. No, it's alright. I'll come with you. What do you mean it's alright? No, what? Like, the body. You don't just leave it there. Help someone get the clinic doctor. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, this is just everything popping off, so it's best that we end it with this. This is Old Lady Nakamura. I don't think we even met that lady. What the hell's happening? I hear screaming from down there, too. Come on, let's go. Ah! No way, even Chie? Someone help! 2 more people collapse over there! What's happening? Help me, I don't want to die. Damn it, there are too many victims. We aren't gonna have enough people to help at this rate. If only I would have talked about the hole in the ocean. They're over here too. No, Yuza kind of gave up. Oh, what the hell is happening? Oh, okay. Well. Is that Kikuko? It's got her too, unless if she's faking it. Someone tell me what's going on. What's with these gashes appearing out of nowhere? Shotaro, calm down. This isn't right. There's no way this is normal. Is it a virus, Shotaro? Good thing you're handsome. Or is there really a curse? Kikuko, like, being there made me think that she was the one that, like, did it. Those affected by the phenomenon died instantly. Except for, you know, the one person that got back up. The strange calamity that had suddenly descended on Kameshima plunged the island into a panic. With no knowledge of the cause or reason, there was nothing that could be done to prevent it, and the massacre continued unabated for a time. The survivors were seized with fear. Some ran to escape, some simply broke down. Some flew into a wild rage. A frenzied chaos swept over the island. A short while later. At least we were able to meet up with Tsukasa. She did it? But what the hell's going on? The whole island's in an uproar. Everyone's so panicked. We couldn't find anyone who could talk straight. Who could blame them? No one knows who will be affected next. It's probably best to hide here until things settle down. You okay, Tsukasa? Like, she kind of has tears. I don't know. She looks just kind of out of it. No, I have no idea whether my ma's safe or not. And I wasn't able to find Sato either. I'm so worried about her. Old man Wakamura said he'd handle things, so I hope she managed to make it back home at least. Hey, do you think Sato's wound healing up like that has anything to do with what just happened? We've held off prying into Sato's past up to now. But maybe that won't fly anymore. Yuza, you gotta, like, think of something. Come to think, didn't this whole curse of the Raging Waves mess start when Sato came to Kameshima? Don't say that! This isn't Sato's fault. She's just a normal girl. I'm gonna say no to the normal part. But I don't think she's the cause. I mean, she got attacked too. She just happened to be able to survive. I won't let anyone say anything bad about her. Not even you, Azami. Sorry, Tsukasa. I didn't mean anything by it. I wasn't thinking straight. I mean, I never thought something like this was really possible either. Huh? Something like what? Do you have some idea what could have caused this? Well, I mean, saying something like this is, I think, reasonable when people are just magically dying of cuts out of nowhere. Well, a little while ago, when we were at Old Man Wakamura's place, I'm gonna have a recollection. Some guy phoned and threatened to kill all the women on Kameshima with a curse. I guess it has been women, hasn't it? I didn't even notice that. I'm not very good at profiling, I guess. Another curse? Who was it? What did they want? I don't really know. He said something about no mercy, just punishment for anyone who defies him. It was really creepy. What the hell? All those people had to die just because some guy didn't get what he wanted? Old Man Wakamura said he'd do something to stop the Raging Waves curse, but things just got worse instead. Azami, calm down. It's no use getting mad at me. What was it? Some guy phoned and threatened to kill all the women. Okay, he didn't, like, say he wanted something. At least not as far as we are aware. You're right. Sorry, Tsukasa. I guess I got a bit heated. Even so, that means those gashes were deliberately caused by someone using a curse, right? So they're the one responsible for all of this. Right. Even the massacre was caused by something supernatural. Someone made it happen, even if the massacre was caused by something supernatural. About that, something's been bugging me about this whole thing. What do you mean? It didn't seem like the victims were being targeted at random somehow. They were all women for a start. Well, yeah, the threat was about women. So I was trying to think of some kind of common point that would tie them together. That's our Tsukasa, sharp as ever. So what were you thinking? Could they have been targeted because they were Ama divers? Sato wasn't though, right? Now that you mention it, weren't all the victims we saw on the way here Ama divers? Also, like, I mean, the blurb we got kind of made it sound like a bunch were dying. I know that this place has a lot of Ama divers, but is it that, like, enough for it to be that? Those affected died instantly. No knowledge of the cause or reason. There was... I guess it kind of could imply that those were really the only ones we saw. Also, I don't know about the other old lady, I think. Though I guess most of the women on Kameshima have at least some Ama diving experience. I guess that's also the thing, right? Especially since mostly women are Ama divers here. Ah, but they went after Sato first, right? That wouldn't fit. Yeah. Oh, you're right. Sato isn't an Ama diver. I was pretty worried Yuza and I might be targeted as well, but I guess we can breathe a bit easier now. We still don't know what the conditions are, though. None of us are out of the woods yet. Wait, the victims were only women? Ah, could the killer have been using this to find their targets? But that would mean the culprit is... What's up, Yuza? You figure something out? Turns out Yuza's a woman. That got his head? Cut clean off. I know it's a really tragic moment right now. Using this to find their targets. I honestly don't know where his, where he was going with that, and now he's dead, so. What? Yuza, your head, it's... No! Yeah. Well done in your efforts thus far. You have now borne witness to the details of the tragedy that befell Kameshima. However, please do not be discouraged. This, too, is necessary knowledge for your journey. The situation you find yourself in is complex indeed, a veritable maelstrom of events. But I'm sure you will be able to overcome this trial and accomplish your true objective. For now, we will return to the story chart, where you may proceed with a different route. I wish you the best of luck on your journey. So I'm wondering if there's any reason why... Okay, well, that unlocked all of this shit. Which is good. Why the game wouldn't just let me follow through with this instead of having storyteller stop me and say, hey, maybe you should figure out another way to solve that, to unlock this chart. Because, like, taking 7 mysteries into account, we kind of followed a path up until it ended, and that's when he was like, yo, dirtbag, go do something different. So, I don't know. Also, it's kind of strange to me that these would be different chapters, and this wouldn't have just been a follow-up to Cursed. Since it didn't seem like I really had any options, unless if there's something that can potentially happen at some point where we would want to return to meetup time. Let's... Arriving on Kameshima, discovering the Mermaid of Ise Bay. I mean, recollection always seems like the best course of action. Let's do the recollection we have for them. Arnav Barnum, a cheerful fantasy author, sets off on a trip to visit the mermaid legends of Ise Bay with his relative, Circe Lunarlight, as his guide. I'm assuming it's Circe. I don't really know. But I don't know most names. Date unknown. Kawaga Town. Nakabeppo Coast? That's a cool name. After much hustle and bustle, we finally managed to make our way to Ise Bay. Nice. Was she clapping? Take it all in now. We're standing on the coast of Nakabeppo in Mie Prefecture, Kawaga Town. Which means this is the Sea of Ise, the connection to the eternal world. How amazing. Indeed it is. Come, Cersei. Henceforth begins our grand adventure in search of the legendary mermaids of Ise Bay. How amazing. I just can't stop saying it. Without further ado, my name is Arnav Barnum, an American-born fantasy author. Please call me Avi. Who are you saying that to? Who are you introducing yourself to, weirdo? Oh, well, I simply thought a new beginning called for a little dramatic flair, you know. Sure. Does he know? With that out of the way, perhaps my darling guide could provide some insight into the goings-on of this locale? Sure, I've got you covered. Darling guide, do you have any, stickers around? Well, this area is now called Nakabeppo. Long ago, it was a region of Ise province known as Betsuho. Records indicate that 3 mermaids were caught in the fisherman's net along the coast back in the Heian period. Now that's what I'm talking about. Let's hear more about those mermaids. They had human heads with the mouths of monkeys and the teeth and bodies of fish. What do you mean by mouths of monkeys? And they spoke and even shed tears like humans. Shed tears? Why would they be crying? Could these be the fish mermaids you mentioned before, Avi, says Cersei in Avi's voice? Indubitably. Indubitably. Yes, this must be the place. I'm getting goosebumps. Right? I feel the same way. This is so exciting. Bitsuo is the old name for the area now known as Nakabeppo. Kawagi Town is in the Ise district, so named during the events of the story, has since been merged with Sioux City of Mie Prefecture. Said to have been the territory of Taira no Kiyomori's father, Taira no Tadamori. The area has a deep connection to the Ise Hiko. The Tadamori and Kiyomoris are the samurai or the swordsman thing. The area has deep connections to the Ise Hike. It is also said to be the location where 3 mermaids were caught in a fisherman's net and presented to Taira no Tadamori during the Heian period. Kazuka, Paranormal Affairs. I don't think anything we got, that would have been like tradition. Right, the Hike is what all that is. Which is just a clan? What was with the sword part of it? There's a lot of stuff on them. One of the 3 Imperial will be out. Okay, not a... whatever, it's fine. This I wanted to look at real quick. Area of the deep connected to Ise Hike. Yeah, okay. So the area is connected to all that stuff. Okay, that's all. I just wanted to make sure I, you know, had the connections where they needed to be. Let me think about things. We've come all this way to a distant foreign land seeking mermaids. Of course, I have my own reasons for trying to locate the mythical creatures. But for now, I intend to scout this land in order to learn as much as I can about its lore and legends. But it occurs to me that I never actually explained the particulars of my Ise Bay mermaid excursion to the girl. No matter, it's nothing of consequence, really, so I'll just introduce my reasons a bit at a time. Are we gonna learn his reasons? Nickname Avi, a fantasy author, I think we got all that. Wait, no, his works. Fantasy author and occult journalist whose books are published in both American and English, but they don't sell well. Unmarried. I think that was all we had before. Notable works includes The Fiend of Ringgit and The Solar Crow. Solar Crow sounds sick. Burmaud's Travels and The Bon Appetit, the Phantom Gourmet series. Although a grown man, he still has a certain naive boyishness to him, most evident in his passion for romantic tales and appetite for chasing his dreams. However, this also comes with an equivalent amount of immaturity, making him somewhat troublesome to deal with. He believes that any circumstance he finds himself in will sort itself out, an optimistic creed that often sees him casually throwing himself into difficult situations, and he remains impressively unbothered even on those occasions he does find himself in trouble, often managing to slip out of danger with nary a dent in his usual carefree attitude. That he's made it this far unscathed is largely owed to sheer luck, although he remains blissfully unaware of this. He's currently in Japan seeking mermaid flesh, which is believed to grant immortality. His reason is simple, a fascination with the occult, a pursuit he feels is worthy of devoting his entire life to. Indeed, he is primarily driven by his pursuit of romantic ideals. If he finds something suitably inspiring, he will readily risk his life for it, and is willing to change his views just as quickly for the same. Wait, so that's his... Is that really his goal? Because, like, the way that highlighted seemed like he had a more, like, important goal than just, like, yeah, occult is kind of my hobby. Risk his life for it and is willing to change his views just as quickly for the same. Avi's interest in the occult was born when he discovered his great-grandmother's vast collection of mysterious occult artifacts in the storage of his family home in America. Among them was a mermaid mummy, which yielded a mysterious map when taken apart, a discovery which captivated his imagination and led to his current quest. Well, now that's the big important part right fucking there, the mysterious map. What's, Soto's, mermaid mummy was, like, missing that had something in it? Is that what it is? His great-grandmother happened to be a relative of the main Lunar Light family in England, albeit one who had chosen not to succeed the family estate. After discovering this through independent research into his lineage, Avi made contact with the Lunar Light family and continues to maintain a secret correspondence with them to this day. I don't think Soto's thing is gonna mention it. Ancestor of the Kiru family, which may explain why their bloodline has produced many individuals with strong spirit sense. But yeah, they were talking about how, like, that was, like, a handful of chapters ago. Not too many chapters ago, but enough that I can't look back at it. They were talking about how, like, they're looking for something, but it's like the mermaid was missing or some shit. The endless expanse of the Ise Sea, the eternal world, may lie just beyond the horizon. After all, Ise Province is the land whither repair the waves from the eternal world. I still don't know what that means. The eternal world is purported to be a perpetual paradise, a separate plane from the world we live in, yes? Could it be that mermaids hail from such a place? No more surroundings. Seriously, what are you looking at? Let me think about this. Well then, would such mermaids be so easily trapped by simple fishing nets? I thought them more cunning than that, but perhaps these fish mermaids are in fact nothing more than simple sea creatures. This young lady is a distant relative of mine, the third daughter of the Lunar Light family. The Lunar Lights have been in the business of demonic exorcism in England for several generations now. As such, young Circe has received education on this rare subject from a young age and is now an apprentice exorcist. In order to continue her training, or more likely, simply because of her interest in the area, Circe has come to Japan to study abroad. Upon hearing such news, I sought to employ her as my guide for the mermaid hunting expedition to Ise Bay. She's apparently quite fond of Japan myths and folk tales, and has already explored a number of areas concerned with the occult. Interested in visiting Mie Prefecture at least once during her stay, she immediately agreed to my request. And now we get more from her about, like, exorcisms. Occupation exorcist. What did it say before? Did it just say, like, tourist? A young exorcist from England, currently on exchange in Japan, possessed of a bold and willful nature. She harbors an ardent interest in Japanese folklore and occult stories. She's quick to involve herself in anything that interests her, not stopping until her curiosity has been completely sated. Although she can be fairly blunt, she shows a naivety appropriate to her age around those she's comfortable with, and is not above the occasional prank. She's pranks? Yo, Circe pranks? I like how it's like naivety but old, and then naivety but, like, you know, it makes sense because she's 15. Circe is the third daughter of Ciara Lunar Light, the current head of the matrilineal Lunar Light family, a long line of exorcists based in England. along with her 2 older sisters. She has received a specialized education in exorcism ever since she was a child, and is currently in training. Skill set's going to be interesting. As an apprentice, as the beings known as demons in the West ultimately share the same root cause as harmful supernatural phenomenon in the East, the spirits of the dead, strong thoughts, and curses. What she does as an exorcist is fundamentally the same as what Japanese psychics do, with only the methods and terminology differing. Are her powers. Guardian spirits, the ability to call upon the numerous guardian spirits of the Lunalite family and invoke their powers to exercise spirits and negate certain psychic abilities. Interesting. Shikigami, the ability to turn a piece of paper with an individual's name written on it into a butterfly, which will return to the individual in question. Although she does not have to be the one who wrote the name, it must be Circe who cast the spell on the paper. That's going to be useful later. Dowsing, the ability to use a pendulum in search for a target based on what the user can sense of their spiritual power. The effective distance of the spell depends on the strength of the target's spiritual power. Okay, so it has to be like someone with spiritual power. Although she is supposed to be in the care of Paranormal Affairs Bureau, a confidential Japanese institute during her time in Japan. Alright, so she is related to that then. Circe has been spending more time traveling around the country sightseeing than working through her training curriculum. The supervisor in charge of her training has all but given up on trying to manage her as a result, resolving to keep an eye on her but otherwise not interfere. As such, she's afforded a relatively high level of freedom. Circe is an ardent fan of Mio Kurisuzu. Mio, she's involved. She's not involved, but at least she was brought up. A girl with potent spirit sense and her senior in the industry in Japan, she harbors both strong admiration and strong feelings of rivalry towards her in equal measure, and it is not uncommon for her to end up babbling mess when the topic turns to the other girl. She treasures the photograph she had taken with Mio upon first meeting her in Tokyo and keeps it with her at all times. I mentioned before that there's like a mini manga series of Mio. I can almost picture that Circe's is going to like be in a sequel version of it, like Mio and Circe's teaming up, fighting crime, taking names. I can still look at her. As far as the girl is concerned, I suppose I could be considered a guardian of sorts. Even so, I often find myself caught up in her pace and completely thrown off guard. She also plays pranks on me. I don't like it. It's rude. If anyone should be shaking things up around here, it ought to be me. They seem like the perfect pair, honestly. With just how unhinged they are. I was gonna say just like how out there both of them are. Like, even if they weren't like foreigners, they just are like, I mean, look at the way she's dressed. Look at the way that Avi acts. They're wacky. Talk about this place. I mean, Circe dresses like she's a magic person. I would say that she has that gloomy air about her, but she's not as gloomy. She has like a holly leaf on her hairpiece instead of a pentagram. Kawagi Town might be located right next to Mie Prefecture, modern capital, Sioux City. But there's something you have to keep in mind. This was also the birthplace of the Hike, a branch of the Heian period's preeminent Tara clan. If you're going to talk about Ise province, then you absolutely have to mention the Hike. I do have a passing understanding of the topic. The Hike took part in the Genpei War, correct? That's right. That was the war in the Heian period where two great samurai families, the Minamoto and the Tara, locked horns and really got into it. Right, so they are samurai families. I just want to make sure that I wasn't assuming because of blades and the fact that the ghost looks like a samurai. Among the Hike, Taro no Kiyomura was a particularly famous figure who appears in many creative works concerning the event. His father, Taira no Tadamori, was the one responsible for securing the Hike's high social standing. So Tadamori was Kiyomori's father, right? With names like that, how can anyone hope to keep them straight? I can't, I'll tell you that. That's history for you. I'm afraid you just have to memorize them. No, it's not gonna happen. I suppose you're right about that. Then memorize them I shall. I will not. Apparently, Tadamori was born in Sioux City in a place called Ubashina. Ah, so that's why they call this area the birthplace of the Hike. File update. Memorize it. City located in the center of the Ise Plain and the capital of Mie Prefecture. Previously known as Natsu, Sioux City has served as a port town since the Heian period, after which it continues to flourish as an important port city for Japan. Sioux City is also known as the birthplace of the Hike. The Ubashina area in its suburbs is said to be where Taira no Kiyomori's father, Terry no Tadamori, was born. Well, I guess that's... If I can remember to go back to Sioux City, that's how I'll remember who is who in that regard. Right. We doing anything else, guys, or are we just standing on this beach? Talk about this place. Why are we on this beach? This is the metropolitan center of Mie and a local locus of historical events. I guess that makes it the perfect place to start a new journey. Alright, not much from that one. Can we get back to those mermaids you mentioned? What became of the 3 that were caught in the fishing nets? At that time, the lord of this area was Taira no Tadamori. You didn't already forget him, did you? Well, the fisherman thought the mermaids were a fascinating find, so he placed 2 of them into boxes and presented them to Tadamori. Oh, Lord Tadamori must have been well pleased by that. How could he not be? It was known that eating the flesh of a mermaid grants eternal life. Actually, Tadamori evidently said they were disturbing and gross and refused to accept them. Gah, what a waste! I mean, if you've seen, like, what the sideshow mermaids look like, I also don't think I would want to eat them. However, the fisherman cut up the remaining mermaid and ate it himself. So, what happened to him? Well, the fisherman probably got, like, sick. Said it was pretty tasty. Well now, tasty is it? And that's all I've got. That's it? That's all I could find in existing records. Then the act of eating a mermaid's flesh alone may not produce any results. I suppose then there may be other requisite conditions, wouldn't you say? Well, considering the sheer number of eyewitness reports concerning mermaids, it is odd that there aren't more immortals walking around. That is true. I wanted to also bring up the fact that, like, Cersei clearly was mystical in some fashion, in that the cover art for the game has her doing, like, psychic hands out motions. So, not surprising. Talk more about mermaids. There don't seem to be any records about what happened to the mermaids that Tadamori refused to accept. I suppose it's possible someone in the Hike clan snuck off with them. Now that's a hypothesis I can get behind, is it? Why so much enthusiasm, Avi? Talk about Hike. I put together an assortment of files concerning the Hike, so feel free to give them a look if you're interested. You know I'm going to. You have my heartfelt gratitude. Alright. Taira no Tadamori. Taira no Tadamori, the father of Taira no Kiyomori, an influential figure of the Heian period, was the man responsible for solidifying the social standings of the Ise-Terry clan, and was notable for being the first samurai permitted to enter the imperial court. Entering the imperial court meant being granted access to the Tenjo no Ma, a chamber where those who directly served the emperor performed their official duties. In an era where the warrior class was still considered of low status, a samurai rising to the level of court official was unprecedented. I almost got through saying that word correctly. Unprecedented. The Ise-Terra clan went on to extend its influence across various provinces, with the vast wealth it gained through trade with the Song dynasty of China solidifying its foundation. This significant influence was later inherited by his son, Kiyomori. Tadamori was said to have been a man of strong will and perseverance, yet despite the power he amassed in his lifetime, he was also said to have been modest and disinclined to indulge in luxuries like mermaids and shit. Nukamura, Tadamori's sword, an heirloom passed down through the Tara clan, originally named Kogarashi. It is said to have become known as Nukamura when a giant snake emerged from a lake and made to swallow Tadamori whole as he lay resting. At that moment, Kogarashi, which Tadamori had left leaning nearby, slipped from his scabbard of its own accord and drove the snake away. The name Nukamori derives from the verb nuku, meaning to unsheath. and reflects the sword's extraordinary act of slipping from its scabbard on its own to save its owner. What, like, a weird gimmick. Nukamura was later inherited by Tadamori's son, Yorimori, but after the downfall of the Tara clan, it is said to have changed hands several times, and its whereabouts are currently unknown. So if we were to assume... Would we assume that this is the same sword? Let's read everything else first. Mermaids of Betsuo. One time when Tadamori was visiting Betsuo in Ise province, 3 creatures with the heads of humans and lips of monkeys and the teeth and bodies of fish were caught in the local fishermen's nets. Dubbed these creatures Ninjio, the original Japanese word for mermaids, the fishermen put 2 of them in a box and that had washed up with them and presented them to Tadamori. However, Tadamori was unnerved by their appearance and refused to accept them. It is said that the remaining mermaid was cut up and eaten by the fishermen, who found them to be delicious. What did I want? I wanted to go back to the Hike part. That's just a location. Oh, tradition and history. The Hike. The sword I wanted to look at real quick. This is Kusanagi no Tsurugi. And Kogurasha. So different swords, right? That's what that would mean. I'm struggling. I want to double check, make sure everything is up to snuff. Kusanagi, not the same as Kogurashi. 3 different, like, legendary regalia, though, so... oh, there's one thing I should warn you about, though. Oh? This group sometimes gets referred to as the Ise Tara as well, which might make things a little confusing. I'll go ahead and label it all as Hike. Does it really matter? Aren't they basically the same thing? Not exactly. You see, the term Ise Tara refers to the Tara clan as a whole because it originated in Ise. On the other hand, people generally refer to the family within the clan that includes Tadamori and Kiyomori as simply the Hike. Their family features prominently in the stories we're interested in, so I'll use Hike most of the time. Plus, it has a nice ring to it. Either way works for me, so do as you like. The Tale of Hike also used Hike. You're awfully particular about this, but I rather like that kind of fastidiousness. Let me think about this. Would such mermaids be so easily trapped by simple fishing nets? More cunning. Well, the Hike, though. Anyway, after a number of events, the Hike would go on to lose the battle of Dan no Ura and be completely eradicated. Ah, I believe I know this one. Dan no Ura is found in Kyushu, is it not? Bingo, the clan was chased out of Kyoto and pushed further and further west until they were eventually wiped out there. It pains me to think of such a resplendently glorious clan meeting such an ignominious end. More's the pity. I guess that's the vocab of an author there. That's why the Hike's resentment is particularly strong, and many remnants of it remains even today. Shrines and monuments have even been erected throughout the land in an attempt to quell that resentment. Enough resentment to be a curse, obviously. Ah, and now we reached your particular field of expertise. Because the clan fell from such an exalted position so abruptly, that resentment is exceptionally persistent and quite pervasive. That said, famous places related to people like Tara no Kiyomori are well attended by worshippers, so they're relatively stable. Okay. It's the puffed up and pretentious Hike clan members that no one even remembers who cause the most trouble. Interesting. So then it would be like the sword that falls out of its sheath is like probably a good one compared to the other sword. I seem to recall a number of individuals going so far as to claim that those outside of the Hike clan cannot even be considered human. But if that's the case, are we really safe here? You don't think we might find ourselves assailed by these lingering grudges? Much of Ise province is protected by shrines, and the area is suffused with spiritual energy, so we're probably safer here than most places. Well, that's just the land itself. Objects or people that the resentment has seeped into are a different story altogether. That's somewhat troubling to hear. Any stickers in the sky? Well, either way you look at it, this region is still home to many places and things associated with the Hike. Cersei, please, play a prank on Avi. I need to see you do a prank. Excellent. I believe I've gotten a grasp of the situation at hand. It's time we made our way to the next locale. We're on the clock, after all. Let's get to it. Are you really on the clock? We can go places? We can move?